Thailand expecting 2 million tourists in second half of 2021. For the first time in more than a year, Thailand will allow visitors without the mandatory 2-week quarantine. The government anticipates finalizing agreements and vaccine passports with various countries soon to allow visitors to return without having to quarantine. Thailand tourism is banking on Chinese tourists to arrive in July and European tourists to arrive in the winter. The Tourism Council of Thailand Vice President Vichit Prakabgasal said holidaymakers may generate about 105 billion baht in revenue in the second half of 2021. It will be the first time in more than a year that the island will allow visitors without the mandatory 2-week quarantine. The VP said the Chinese, who were the biggest group of tourists to Thailand before the pandemic, are expected to return in July on chartered flights, while visitors from Europe will likely start arriving during the winter months. Mr. Vichit said it's good that the majority of countries with high numbers of vaccinations are the main markets for Thai tourism, adding that the government should finalize agreements and vaccine passports with various countries to allow visitors to return without having to quarantine. Thailand has been coming up with new ideas to punch up tourism numbers and get tourists to visit their country in various forms, including the recent new safety standards for adventure activities. Tourism and Sports Deputy Permanent Secretary Thaisak Wainasharan said improving standards would help enhance tourism growth in the country, and it would first be implemented in 6 provinces: Chiang Mai, Phuket, Kanchanaburi, Udon Thani, Chonburi, and Bangkok. The Ministry of Tourism and Sports and Faculty of Engineering at Kesart University have collaborated to create safety standards for land tourism and zip-line adventure activities. Tourism and Sports Deputy Permanent Secretary Thaisak Wainasharan said improving standards would help enhance tourism growth in the country. It would first be implemented in 6 provinces: Chiang Mai, Phuket, Kanchanaburi, Udon Thani, Chonburi, and Bangkok. Mr. Thaisak said representatives of the 2 organizations held a meeting this month and have created tourist manuals to minimize accidents and build trust among tourists and tourism business operators. He said the new standards for tourism are expected to be implemented shortly after the country reopens. #RebuildingTravel